guys, so this week I decided I would be participating in Top 5 Wednesday again, and this week's theme is Top 5 Reread Books. So yeah, I'm just gonna get on started with the 5 books that I've chosen. The first book that I've chose for a favorite reread is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I read this book back in July actually, and I was on vacation with one of my friends, and I had brought the book with me just in case I wanted to reread it, and me and my friend are both really big fans of Anna and the French Kiss, and we sat outside and we like reread the book together. We kind of went on and off chapters, so like I read aloud chapter 1 and then she read aloud chapter 2, and we did that for almost the whole book, and then I finished it on my own, and it was just a really great experience to reread this book and kind of do it that way, which is something I've never really done before. I have a lot of good memories kind of tied in with the rereading of this book, so that's why I chose it for one of my books. So yes, that's one of them. Next favorite reread is After by Anna Todd. If you guys have watched any of my past videos recently, you might know what this book's all about. This book was originally a fan fiction, a Harry Styles fan fiction on a website called Wattpad. I actually was a big fan of the fan fiction, and I read it, you know, as chapters were updated. I would stay up all night just so I could get the next chapter, and it's kind of been a really interesting experience to get to actually have the whole book in my hands, published, edited, everything, expanded, and just get to read it straight through without being stressed. Every night reading it on Wattpad there would be a cliffhanger. This, I could just read the whole story, and it was such a fabulous, you know, chance. I got to read it again in a whole book, and it's amazing that Anna got her book published, like a fan fiction published. You know, that's happening a lot lately, and I think it's really awesome that it happened for this fan fiction because I totally love it. So I thought that was a really great reread as well because I got to finally read it in a paperback version. So yes. Next favorite reread would have to be Slammed by Colleen Hoover. I reread this one over the summer as well, and I actually read it while I was on the beach, and I just had a really great experience rereading this book, and it was really emotional for me. I didn't remember really crying when I read this book the first time, but the second time I was a sobbing mess on the beach. It was kind of embarrassing, but it was also a really great experience because I just love these characters. I love Laken and Will and their relationship and everything about this book, and it was the first Colleen Hoover book I've ever read, so it's kind of nostalgic in that way considering she's my favorite author, and back I read this book, and rereading it after I've read all of her other books was just a really awesome experience, so that's probably another one of my favorite rereads. The next one is going to be The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is the movie cover, as you can see. The reason I'm showing you guys the movie edition is because I actually reread this book before watching the movie, which was a really awesome experience, you know, to have this book fresh in my mind while I went and saw the movie, you know, on June 5th. I went and saw it, the version before The Night Before Our Stars, and it was so awesome. It just kind of brings me back to the whole weeks of when this movie was coming out and the anticipation of going to see this film and then finally seeing it, and just how much I loved it and how much it brought tears to my eyes, and it was just amazing to see one of John Green's books finally as a film, and I just love it. So that's kind of what this book makes me think about. Rereading this book brings me back to the film, so that's why I chose this book. And the last book doesn't really have that big of a story behind it, but that is Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire, and this has to be my most reread book, which is why I chose it, obviously. I've reread this baby like 6 times, only because it's one of my favorites. I love this book. I love Travis Maddox, you guys all know that, and just Abby and Travis's relationship is one of my favorites. The characters in this book, the storyline, it's all amazing, and I love it so much, and I love revisiting these characters' worlds, and I'm so happy that Jamie Maguire is doing the Maddox Brothers series, so I get to have a little bit more of this world in my life just because it's one of my favorites, and this book obviously is my favorite. It's literally the first new adult book I ever read and introduced me to one of my favorite genres, so rereading this book really brings me back to when I first started new adult, and it's just kind of awesome. This book is kind of one of the reasons I started BookTube, because I started getting interested in reviews about new adult books, and it kind of brought me into this whole new world of books and videos. And I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. Like, what brought you to BookTube? The first BookTube video I ever watched was a review on this book, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's my top 5 reread books. If you guys have any top reread books that you want to let me know about, you can leave that in the comments below. I'd be super interested to know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you all in my next video. Bye!
But every song's like gold teeth, gray goose, tripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room, we don't care. We're driving Cadillac.